Your hands are full of gunpowder and you are 11 years old. You carry it up from the magazine, the powder store deep below the waterline, in the dark, up through the smoke to the guns, and you run. Because if you're slow, the gun above you goes quiet, and a quiet gun in a battle is a dead gun. They didn't give you this job out of cruelty. You got it because you're small, fast, and there are 1,000 more like you. You came off the street, an orphan, handed to the fleet by the Marine Society, a charity founded in 1756 to turn boys nobody wanted into boys the Navy could use. There's another boy on the ladder beside you, Ned. Same charity, same week. Remember him. 8 ranks tower above you, and the sea does not care which one you're standing on when you die. But let's say you live. Let's climb. A few years pass, and you outgrow the powder. Too big now for the hatches, so they put you to the ropes instead. They rate you landsman, the lowest thing a grown man can be aboard. And you notice something about the men hauling rope beside you. Almost none of them chose to be here. They were taken. The press gang had the legal right, real, court-backed law, to seize an able-bodied seafarer off a dockside street and put him on a ship. A man could kiss his wife goodbye at dawn and be at sea by nightfall. You watch them drag 3 new bodies aboard before you've coiled a line. That's what a life is worth here. A signature nobody ever gave. 2 more years and your hands know the work without being told. You can hand, reef, and steer in the dark. That earns you a real rating. Able seaman, and it's now you meet the real enemy aboard. And it isn't the French. It's your own body. Your gums soften, your teeth loosen. Old wounds you'd forgotten tear back open. It's scurvy, and out here it kills far more men than any cannon ever will. And here's the part that should make you furious. A naval surgeon named James Lind proved the cure in 1747. Citrus, a man saved by an orange. And the Navy waited nearly 50 years to hand it to the fleet. Tens of thousands of men, dead of a thing a piece of fruit would have fixed. You bury 2 friends before breakfast. Ned's still standing, for now. The steadiest hands, the ones who don't freeze at height, get the worst station on the ship. So up you go. Top man, the men who work the tops of the masts, out on the yards, 100 feet up, in a gale. At night, the deck pitching below you like it wants you gone. And it's up here that you learn what happened to Ned, because a top man fell, missed his hold when the ship rolled, and dropped past the deck into the black water. And the ship did not slow. It couldn't. To turn back for 1 man would risk all 600. So they logged the name and sailed on. It was Ned. Same charity, same week, same ladder, and the sea didn't care which of you it took. You understand the arithmetic now. You always were a number in a book. Survive the tops long enough, and they want your nerve where it counts. So they bring you down to the heart of the ship and give you a crew of your own. Gunner. The same guns you once fed as a child, except now the small hands sprinting up the ladder belong to someone else. A ship of the line throws a broadside heavy enough to break another ship in half. On the enclosed deck, the sound alone bleeds a man's ears. You keep firing until the smoke is so thick you're firing at a shape. You survive it. You always survive it. The ones who don't never get a next rung. Stay steady when everything else is coming apart. And they hand you power over the men beside you. They make you a boatswain's mate, and the job is discipline. When a man is sentenced to the lash, you're the one who ties him to the grating and brings down the cat. 9 knotted cords that strip the skin off a back in a dozen strokes. You once flinched at that rope, now it's in your hand, because the only other place to stand is on the grating. That's what the ship takes, not just your body, your conscience too. And then something rare happens. A captain notices you and crosses you over a line almost no one crosses, from the lower deck to the quarterdeck. Midshipman, an officer in the making. Now your life is written in a different column. Prize money, a share of every enemy ship you help take. The war stops being a thing that happens to you and becomes a thing you might get rich on. If you live. If the right men keep watching. Years of study by lantern light, and you pass the examination. Lieutenant, now you stand on the quarterdeck in battle and give the orders. Send the powder boys running, send the top men into the gale, hold the crews to the guns. Every order you give, you once survived from the other end. You're good at it. That should feel like victory. Mostly it feels like a debt. And then, the boy in the dark with his arms full of powder would never have believed it. They give you a ship. Post captain. The top of the ladder. Your name in the books as the one every other name answers to. A cabin with windows. A servant. A share of a fortune. On paper, worth more than every man you started beside, combined. But you know exactly what a life is worth on these books. You learned it on a ladder, at 11, from a boy called Ned who went into the water and didn't slow the ship by a single second. So walk back down it with me. The powder monkey, small enough to be spent. The landsman, taken by a gang. The able seaman, dying of a fruit they wouldn't hand out. The top man in the black water. The gunner in the smoke. The mate with the cat in his hand. The officer, paying a debt he never borrowed. Every rank in the Royal Navy, and you were all of them. They sold this age to you as white sails and glory and Nelson's flags flying, and it was. But under the paint it was children, and stolen men, and bleeding gums, and a sea that never once slowed down. This is what it actually felt like. And if you want to know which of those ranks was the deadliest to be born into, the next one's already waiting.